Hi there, Bill Hitchcock. It is Monday, July 7th, and boy, do we have a lot of stuff to get out to you. If you live in North Carolina or South Carolina or Virginia, you know what just happened over the weekend. Not only 4th of July, we had a different type of excitement going on called Chantal. Well, we're going to talk about Chantal a little bit, its effects here along the coast of North Carolina. We had some water spouts that showed up here at the beach to show you, and we're also going to show you what conditions were like on the beach, down in the Sunset Beach area, actually. We do have a fishing report to get out to you. Believe it or not, we got some king mackerel and some barracuda that were caught inshore and from the piers. Tuna, and more tuna. And by the way, can I say very large tuna? Speckled trout are about. Big drum on the inside. We got some video of that to show to you. Plus, spinner sharks from the beach on Hatteras. All right, let's get on to it. First off, the weather, Chantal. We'll get into what's going on Monday morning as we are doing this. Information is still coming in, but I want to show you two videos from Emerald Isle yesterday on Sunday. It's a water spout. First video is from the ocean. All right, there was a water spout in Emerald Isle around 16th Street. Now I'm going to show you a water spout. We are assuming it is the same water spout, but this time is mainland looking across the sound on the backside of Emerald Isle.
That's crazy. Tornado. Okay, it's not coming to us.
Water spouts, they are dangerous. The thing about a water spout, they're a tornado, except they got water in them, which bogs them down. And generally speaking, when a water spout hits the ground, the water gets dumped and it takes out the energy of that water spout. But you don't mess around with those things. But there is right now a very high risk of rip currents. Oh, by the way, I want to show you this. This is video yesterday, Sunset Beach Pier, just to show you, it wasn't really a rain event, but it was a wind event.
Hey, good Sunday morning, guys. Carried out here on the end of the pier. We got a little bit of wind blowing today. I think she's blowing right now southeast at about 25 or 30 miles an hour. A little bit of gust higher than that. Got a little bit of movement out here on the pier. Checking my water bottle out there for some movement. We would highly recommend that you stay out of the water. Trying to zoom out, sorry about that. There we go. Don't think we're going to have a whole lot of rain today, but we got plenty of white sudsy water.
All right, let's get on with the fun stuff. The fishing report. Let's go up to the Nags Head Fishing Pier on July 5th. Nags Head Pier says the younger generation is putting on a show today. Dylan Mills with a released cobia, and this young lady with a full-grown, quote-unquote, endangered flounder. Yay. And then the day before that, Spanish and bluefish didn't get scared away from the fireworks, catching fish as we speak. So everything was good up to the storms. By the way, another thing that oftentimes happens with storms, particularly hurricanes, it's immediately afterwards. The fishing is fantastic, and oftentimes it brings in fish that might not be indicative of the area. Like we don't catch ocean catfish that often up here, or maybe it's African pompano. Pompanos are like 20, 25 pounds will show up. So you just never know. Speechless sport fishing out of Pirates Cove, Manio, July 4th. Tuna and dolphin, doghouse sport fishing out of Wanchee, tuna and a nice wahoo. The day before on July 5th, clicking right away like a Swiss watch. Tuna and Baylor dolphin. All right, in-game sport fishing out of Oregon Inlet. This is what I really wanted you to see. Got lucky and caught a couple of nice ones today. The big eye was 178 pounds. and the yellowfin was 76 pounds. So the word for the day for the offshore boats up in that neck of the woods is still tuna, and we're glad to see that there's some very large tunas being brought in. Now, this comes from a viewer. There are no pictures. D.E. Fraley sent this to me. This was probably one of the most detailed, complete, and lengthy fishing reports I've ever gotten from a viewer. I've edited this down, but still, listen to this, what D.E. Fraley sent in. He says, "Hey, Bill, was able to make it out fishing for a few days and figured I would give you some insight on what we caught over those days. Fished Nags Head Pier and Jeanette's Pier on the 3rd, that's July 3rd, of course. Caught bluefish during the many runs of them during the day of both pier fish. Their fish were 12 to 14 inches in length. Saw some Spanish being caught as well. Saw a few sheep's head being caught at Jeanette's on sand fleas. On July 4th, fished the Outer Banks Fishing Pier in the morning. Croaker spots, sea mullet, and pigfish, or hogfish, depending on where you're from, on shrimp. Bluefish runs as well. Most people catching them on gotcha plugs. Went to the Bonner Bridge at Oregon Inlet later that day and did not catch a thing myself, but saw a few guys hook up to small rays. The 5th was at the Rodanthe Pier, and it was slow. Water was much dirtier and rougher with the Outer Banks from Chantal starting to come through. Still some croakers on the bottom on shrimp and squid. I did see a few flounder caught as well. Here's a very interesting side note. He says, I have been fishing those areas for quite a while, and on the Outer Banks Pier was the first time I've ever seen anyone from the Division of Marine Fisheries doing surveys, and they also measured a few of my bluefish I had kept. Now, again, that wasn't even half of what he reported. I had to edit it down for time. Thank you very much for that report. If you got a fishing report, send it in to me, BillHitchcock@mail.com. BillHitchcock@mail.com. Pictures and videos are wonderful. Don't send them to me via any other way. Just BillHitchcock@mail.com. That's what I log into. Now, Hatteras. Hookup Charters, July 5th. It said, great fishing continues with a big mixed bag of speckled and gray trout, bluefish, drum, and Spanish mackerel. Now, speaking of drum, Hookup Charters has a wonderful little, we'll catch the, pardon the pun, tail end of this big drum release. Did you notice how shallow the water they were in? It couldn't have been 2 feet. Again, that was a 51-inch drum they caught and released. Congratulations to those folks. Now, Frank and Friends, on Sunday, they said a little rainy today with a bit of wind, blues and Spanish on the Avon Pier, speckled trout in the Sound at night, along with bluefish, spinner, and black-tipped sharks in Avon on Ramp 38. So if you like to go shark fishing, that seems to be the shark fishing hotspot. And if you've ever seen a spinner, because they jump and they spin, that is something to see. Scattered sea mullet and croaker up and down the island. Now, time. This time out. This is the fishing report of the show, we will say. It's with spectacular Captain Rick Scarborough out at Teach's Lair. You may recall, I keep talking about him, and also Emerald Isle Adventures. Those two locations, boats, seem to always have something happening. Now, let's see what Captain Rick has to say. He says, we thought our trip had been made after Doug Fox caught this citation speck. However, later in the trip, when it was about time to start heading back to the dock, we came up on this nice cobia, and Patrick made a perfect cast and landed the puppy drum lure right in its face. Okay, so they're not fishing for cobia. He's a puppy drum lure, doesn't say what, and he slings it out in front of this cobia's face. 90 minutes later, we landed this 56.6 pound cobia on 10-pound test braid. An hour and a half fight, their light tackle facing 10-pound test braid, and they catch that 56.6 pound cobia. There's sight casting. You may recall we did that show a couple of months ago with Captain Rick Caton from up in that neck of the woods about how they do cobia fish, and it is primarily sight casting for them down in the Crystal Coast area. Although, yes, we do sight cast for them, and we will catch them trolling for king mackerel, but bottom fishing is a traditional method for catching cobia here in the Cape Lookout, Crystal Coast area. Little secret, look for about 20 feet of water fishing off the bottom. Now, Sea Dreams fishing July 5th. He said we had a steady pick of the blackfin tunas for most of the morning. There were reports of mahi down the beach and offshore, but we weren't anywhere close to that action, so we decided to fish inshore and look for wahoo, and that's what they got. All right, good time sport fishing. Tuna and more tuna. Yeah, and speaking of the central coastal area, chasing tails out of Atlantic Beach. Nice king mackerel today by Verena and her dad Brent while fishing just off the beach between the rain showers. Now keep that in between the rain showers. I've been talking about this, and this coming week is going to be like this, particularly towards the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time period. You're going to get sunshine for 30 minutes an hour. You're going to get rain for 30 minutes to an hour. Then you're going to get sunshine again for 30 minutes to an hour. It's just that time of year. And again, once you hit about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not, dead on, but around that time period, expect your afternoon thunder showers. They can be brutal, they can be violent, and they can be very, very brief. And they usually are. These storms can travel up to like 50 miles an hour. That's how fast the storm is moving. So it could be a medium-sized storm, but it's moving so fast, whoo, it's over you. But don't play around with the thunderbolts and lightning and things. Very exciting. Now, I wanted to show you this. I thought this was wonderful. I'd like to see more of this. This is Captain Austin's Guide Service and Eco Tours. And the name is appropriate. This is July 4th. They said we had an action-packed eco tour this morning with plenty of Spanish mackerel, visiting the lighthouse, finding sand dollars, and seeing the ponies. Now that is fun. That's all in one trip, and it looked like it was a family. I like seeing that, and I hope people, if you have your own boat or what have you, take the opportunity to fart around, pardon my French. Just look around, have fun, go swimming, go shelling, catch some fish, have a good time while you're fishing. Now, Bogue Inlet Pier, boy, all of a sudden they woke up. Bogue Inlet Pier, they say fishing is seasonable with Spanish mackerel, bluefish, sheepshead, and even kings. Congratulations to John Sheffield from Emerald Isle with a 36-pound, 5-ounce king mackerel. Ben Linton from Cape Carteret with an 18-pound, 9-ounce king mackerel. And Abigail Gordon from Stella with a 4-pound, 2-ounce Spanish mackerel. I had to do that. I'm sorry. Congratulations to those folks. Now, Bogue Inlet Pier made a comment about it's seasonable. This is the season for what's going on. And generally speaking, it slows down during the summer months, June, July, August particularly. The springtime, fall time is the best time of the year to go fishing along the coast of North Carolina. Now, Surf City Ocean Pier, Trace with a 21-pound barracuda. George sent me this picture of a Spanish mackerel that he caught today. Once again, I know I sound like a broken record. I don't know what it is. Once you hit Bogue Inlet and go south, barracuda from the piers. And also king mackerel from the piers. So those two fish are always being caught there. If you know why, email me, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com. I'd love to find out. Now, Johnny Mercer's Pier, Travis Dilworth decking a 14.9. Guess what? Barracuda. With the assistance of Rick Dove, Emily McDuffie leading the July tournament with a .59 spadefish. Yay. And you know what? I think that's the very first time I've heard anybody catching about spadefish. And they'll come in near shore, and sometimes they'll lay on their side, and you'll see like just a fin coming out. You see a school of fins coming out. They love jelly balls. They love jelly balls. I just went blank on cabbage head, jellyfish. That's a great bait. All right, Jolly Roger Pier. Here's Chris with a 42-pound king mackerel. He landed shortly after 6 this morning. That was on July 5th. He said, we caught blues, croakers, and trout last night on the pier. Southern Run Fishing Charters out of Wilmington. He said, got out before the madness started this morning, and the Cobia are still around. You may recall the Southern Run Fishing from a couple of days ago had a nice catch of Cobia. Where they're going, what they're doing, how they're catching them, but they're the only folks we're really hearing about with the Cobia catches out of that neck of the woods. Now, Ocean Crest Fishing Pier, Oak Island. What a great night fishing for the Nelson family. Congratulations. That's what the Ocean Crest Pier says. Look at that big old honking speckled trout. Well, I bet you at nighttime, they'll fish like hanging around at nighttime, things like that. So that's pretty much what we have in regards to a fishing report. We had the 4th of July weekend, as we all know, and then all of a sudden we had the storm develop, Chantal. The beach started clearing out. Again, I live in Carteret County. The beach started clearing out on actually Saturday, and on Sunday the traffic was bad. Normally you would get it on Monday. But basically what this means is nothing in terms of fishing. Now that the bad weather's gone, the good fishing will continue. So just keep an eye to the sky, and always, again, this time of year, it'll rain for 30 minutes, it'll be sunshiny for 30 minutes. It'll rain for an hour, it'll be sunshiny for an hour. All right, if you got a fishing report to get out to me, email me, billhitchcock@mail.com. Love pictures, love video. We don't need to know your secret fishing spot, but do give us some context, such as what bait, lure you were fishing with, conditions that you were fishing with. And this is open to everybody, whether you're a pier, a charter boat captain, a bait and tackle shop, just a person who went fishing for the very first time. It doesn't matter. Send us your fishing report information, and we'd love to get you on the air. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and that little bell button so you'll be notified each time we do a new program. We'll do another one probably Thursday to get you ready for the weekend. Until then, I'm Bill Hitchcock. See ya.